Hi, everyone. My name is Anita Ladani. I am a licensed clinical social worker and an energy practitioner. And today's topic is about angels, um, guardian angels, archangels, spirit guides, negative entities, all things angelic and spirit. So I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. A lot of us have it backwards. A lot of us think that we are spirit humans having a spiritual experience when I truly believe that it's the other way around. We are souls in a human body having a human experience by choice. But I want to talk about, this. So before I even start, let me just preface by saying that this is my personal belief. I am offering this at the request of some of my favorite people. And I'm offering this with the intention that it helps. If this is not part of your belief system, please just turn off the video now and go do something else and, don't watch anything more. So, what I offer to you, I am by no means an expert. I am just offering to you a little that I know about the subject based on readings and based on personal experience. So, really good book. I love to recommend books when I start doing videos that have influenced my life. So, Doreen Virtue is a very powerful angel medium, for lack of a better word. And so anything by Doreen Virtue is very powerful. But there's also a great book called Ask Your Guides by Sonia Choquette. This is the cover of the book. I actually picked it up from a friend's place. And it's an amazing book. It's called Ask Your Guides, Connecting to Your Divine Support System. And it's by Sonia Choquette, and she's an angel spiritual person. So there's some great stuff in here, and I will be referring to it during this conversation. So angels are actually believed in. Did you know that angels, so according to the book, angels are a major force in every faith tradition and are probably one of the few things that all world religions agree on. In Christianity, they have 7 major archangels, while the Islamic religion acknowledges 4. In the Jewish faith, Metatron is the greatest angel of all, and angels in general are mentioned 300 times in the Bible. So, pretty common, understanding of angels in religions, right? So, what are angels? Angels are basically God's personal army of beings that take orders from God. They've never incarnated in the human form. They are special, elevated beings that come down to earth to help and serve at God's commands. And we can actually ask for angelic help at any time by simply asking for help. So let's talk about the archangels. The 7 archangels, and I didn't know all 7 of them because, again, I'm a Muslim and I just hadn't heard the other ones. But the 7 archangels are, so the biggest, the most, so angels, so let's just go back to this book. So archangels, according to this book, are God's most powerful messengers, most important messengers. They're the power booster packs of your spiritual support team. They oversee the development of your artistic talents. They're strong, they're friendly and kind, and don't have egos like human beings. Archangels love to be called upon. Yes, Muslims believe in angels. They're in the Quran, Jason. Angels love to be called upon because to serve you is to serve God. And they can be invoked through chanting their name slowly between breaths. So again, I'm reading this from this book called Ask Your Guides. So the big famous archangel that you probably heard about is Michael. And Archangel Michael is a very powerful angel. Then you got Gabriel, and they all have different sort of things that they serve. Gabriel is the angel of relationships and emotions. So friendships. Raphael is the angel of healing. So a lot of healers will talk about channeling Archangel Raphael and his green light, because when Raphael appears, apparently he comes with a green light, and the green light, a lot of healers will use the green light of Archangel Raphael to do healings. Uriel is the one that, Gabriel also is the one for artists. Sorry, Archangel Gabriel is for artists as well. Uriel is, I don't know the details, but Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raguel, I'm not even pronouncing it right, and Archangel Sariel and Remiel. And again, those are the three I didn't know about. So those are the big archangels, and those are the ones that they can be in any place, multiple places at multiple times. So always call upon them. It's the book recommends, when you're starting up the day, just call upon them. What do you have to lose, right? Believe that you are guarded, and the guardian angels are present, and they come if you call upon them, because they love to serve. Then we want to talk about guardian angels. So guardian angels are very special because we each have them. Whether we have seen them or known them, we have at least one, and that is assigned to us from the time that we are born to the time that we die. And the book explains that guardian angels sort of usher us into this life on earth, and then once we pass away, they kind of make sure we cross over and go into the other side. Guardian angels, again, do not take human form. Angels don't, in general. Excuse me. And guardian angels are with us. They look over us. And there's also a belief that guardian angels actually, not only are they with us in one lifetime, guardian angels are with us life after life after life. So again, I believe in many lives. Again, not trying to convince anyone of anything. If this doesn't meet your belief system, please, leave it at the door and go do something else with your time. But this is just my, my personal belief that I have been here many times before. In fact, I'm aware of quite a few of them. Could I be making it up? Possibly, but it works for me. And my guardian angels have basically followed me in every lifetime. Then you've got spirit guides, and that's a whole different level. Now, spirit guides are actually not angels at all. Spirit guides are they are spirits of people either that have been in your life at some point, or they've been like spiritual teachers, that have like crossed over. Like, for example, Mother Teresa, although she's considered an angel, she would be considered a spirit guide. Some of my loved ones, maybe grandparents or, great grandparents, will be my spirit guides. So some of my favorite professors or teachers who maybe crossed over, that I had a close connection with. And if they're elevated enough, what they will come down and be a spirit guide. I just answered that, Jason. Jason's asking, what do you think about Mother Teresa? Okay, yeah. So not, again, my 2 cents is that I think she's probably a spirit guide, although I know that the Catholic Church assigns the title of angels, I think, or saints. I'm not even sure. No, not angels, saints. She was an incredible human being, no doubt. She did a lot of good in the world. Anyways, coming back to spirit guides. So we have a lot of spirit guides that we can call upon, that are with us. They definitely are there when we pass over. And so the whole concept of death, let me just put a note down. I'll explain my 2 cents on how that works. And I've done other videos on this. If you go to my YouTube channel, and if you look up the video on death and dying, I think from like 8 months ago, I think I did that at the beach. That one I was pretty explicit about the whole process. But anyway, so you've got spirit guides that we can always call for help. And also there's something called a ministry of angels as per this book. That basically there's millions and millions and millions of angels. They each have like there's an angel, the ministry of angel are specialized angels. So there's an angel of cooking, and there's an angel of sewing, and there's an angel of engines. And if you're having trouble with maybe, your car engine, there's an angel for that. There's ministry of angels. And, the author who works very, she's an expert in channeling and working with angels and spirits. And she gives many examples in the books where she talks about her experience directly with, calling to the ministry of angels and having them come and assist. Now, could it be coincidence? Could be. Could it be real? I believe it is. But again, to each its own, not trying to convince anyone to believe anything. Now, just like these are all the positive angels and archangels and guardian angels and spirit guides, and the ministry of angels. Then you've got the negative entities, right? Just like there's positive, there's good, there's also evil. It exists. It really absolutely does. So let's talk a little bit about the negative entities. And I want to specifically talk about the negative entities or negative spirits attached to specific drugs and alcohol. So I think it's kind of ironic to me when I hear or when I drive by a liquor store and it says, spirits on the top. Because the funny thing is, there was another book I was reading on theta healing, and that book talks about how each liquor has a specific spirit attached that belongs to that liquor. Weed, marijuana, has its own spirit that's described as, I think, what do they say? It was a woman with kind of a flat face with brown hair. Cocaine has a spirit attached that looks a certain way. White hair. I think meth has a spirit, if I remember correctly, with electric blue hair and black, holes for eyes. And it's interesting because in my work, in working with addicts over the years, I've, sort of had discussions where addicts have said to me, when I've, brought this up, they've said, oh my God, I remember seeing, this spirit when I was doing meth. Or someone else would say, or yeah, I've seen that when I was smoking weed with my friends or when I was snorting cocaine. So, again, I've never experimented with drugs. So, but it's also because I'm also very acutely aware of the energies that are out there. And as an empath, I already opened myself up to enough by choice. I'm not trying to get, and again, if I smoke weed or alcohol, it doesn't do much for me anyways. So I get, I don't even want to deal with that. But I say that, no judgment on what people do. Enjoy your glass of wine, enjoy your, weed or whatever it is you enjoy. And just be aware that you are sort of, playing with certain influences that you might not be aware of. And so if I think there's spirits all around us, positive and negative. When someone passes away and they have certain belief systems, or they are scared, or they've been misinformed about what happens after death, they don't necessarily cross over. And then so what happens is, just like the movie Ghost, or just like what was that other Ghost Whisperer, the TV show, that's based actually on a real medium and her experiences. And I'm sure the consequent seasons embellished and took a little bit of a interesting twist to it. But I believe that when someone passes over, when you die, your soul leaves the body. The window to God opens up in the form of light, white light coming down from what looks like out of nowhere, right? And this is sort of what's been described by many near-death experience, survivors. They're called NDEs. And again, yours truly, like a nerd, I've read so many of these books since I was in my teenage years, I've always been fascinated with the subject. So I couldn't really give you a reference point, but there's literally hundreds of books out there. The most recent one was by a neurosurgeon that was an atheist that didn't believe in God. I'll have to, not Heaven is Real, something, I cannot remember. I need to remember that name of the book. If so, I'll post it in my comments section as soon as I finish, and if someone else can remember it, please mention it. But this is again a very scientific sort of and a perspective of someone who had a near that he died basically and was supported by machines while his body shut down, and as a medical doctor, he came back miraculously, and then he always sort of had heard his patients talk about the heavens and the angels and the sounds and the music and all that. And he said, oh, that's nice. It's certain parts of your brain, chemicals firing, he kind of just dismissed them. And then when he died and that experience happened to him, it was like weeks later when he had received all the medical reports, because again, the guy is a doctor. He was going through all the medical records, the reports, and he was making correlations with what he had experienced on what day that he was so-called in a coma, to what was going on medically with his brain. And he concluded that there's no way it was possible for him to have experienced those, because certain parts of his brain and his body had shut down, and what he had attributed before to certain parts of the brain was not possible. Again, I can't remember the name of the video, but there's, the book, but that's the latest. But coming back to, what happens is when you cross over, when you actually go into the light, it is said that you are greeted by your spirit guides, you're greeted by your ancestors that have crossed, spirit guides are your ancestors that have crossed over. So your favorite grandmother will be there, if you've lost loved ones, they're there, again, because the way they describe it is that it's a shock when, unless, you kind of are comfortable with the topic, it's a shock when you do pass over and go into the light. Of course, you're taken at that point. There's some tunnel, there's a nice walkway. Everyone talks about the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel. There's a period of rest where your soul's just allowed to kind of rest and catch its breath. And then at whenever your soul's ready, there's a life review process, which basically looks like watching a video of your life on fast forward. And the way it's described is that at that point, when you're reviewing your life, you're reviewing your actions and how you behaved and how you interacted. And that's where you realize if you did something, out of spite or guilt or whatever, you did something that you, at that point, you're not so proud of. That's sort of, the learning, right? Like, oh my God, look how I didn't learn and I misbehaved, or I acted out of ego or acted out of whatever. And then your goals that you have set before you had entered the life that you just finished are reviewed with your angels, and you sort of make agreements and arrangements and adjustments to those goals. And then you kind of left, you can rest again if you want, because time really does not exist on the same way that it exists on the earth plane. So an entire, what appears to be an entire lifetime on earth is literally just a matter of minutes up in the spirit world. Another great book that I mentioned yesterday that we talked about, and I've talked about this again and again, if you really want to understand this, is Laws of the Spirit World by Khorshed Bhavnagri. This book is not available on Amazon. Actually, it might be. It's called Laws of the Spirit World. It's just that it might be like $600 on Amazon. I know eBay has it these days for like $15, because this book is not published in the U.S. It's an Indian author, and it's an incredible book if you want to read about. And it basically describes the 7 levels of the 5th plane of existence, the 7 realms, and that's pretty much what we understand as the 7 levels of heaven and hell. A whole nother conversation, but we're not even going to touch that now. Also, there's spirit guides of nature, spirit guides of water, of the mountains. So that is why, it's really great. If there's a great video on grounding that I strongly encourage everyone to watch. It's called The Science of Grounding. If you just go to YouTube, it's like a 12, 13-minute video. And it really explains how it's so beneficial to just walk barefoot on earth, and how the invention of shoes was like the worst thing ever. And so I always joke, when I'm going to the beach, I always say, I'm going to my therapist, because to me that is therapy. I'm always bare feet on the sand. I'm aware that, there's spirits and energies and angels are around me. I do my meditations on the beach. I'm asking for anything and everything to be sort of cleared and lifted off me. And I know I always leave the beach feeling just incredibly light and energized. Like that's my therapist. So spending time in nature, and again, mountains have the same effect on me. When I was lucky enough to go to Oregon about 8 years ago, when I went to go see the author, I'm not name dropping here. I'm just telling you this because this author is incredible. Neale Walsch, who wrote the Conversations with God series, and 50 books after that. And even now, he does this retreat a couple times in Medford, in this little tiny town, little tiny hotel. And anyone can go, you can pay a nominal charge, you can pay full price. And it's great to go spend a week with him, and you're basically sitting and really just listening to him lecture. And then, you can ask questions, and inevitably, sometime in that week that you're there, you're going to get a chance one-on-one to ask him. And there's usually about, 40 to 50 people there from around the world. And that was a game changer. It was such a treat to spend that time with him. Anyways, coming back, so the topic of saints. So you've got ascended masters that are just elevated souls. I think saints are similar. I'm not too familiar with the whole concept of saints, so I can't really speak to that. And I'm sorry, I know Jason had a question about that. But I think that's it for now. I've said a lot. It's a lot of information. It's confusing. I feel like it sounds confusing as I say it. I pray that it makes sense to you. And I pray that if anything, this helps you want to go research it more. And like I said, there's a lot of great books out there from people who've had these experiences, credible sources, by the world's standards. There was something else I wanted to say. Let's just think what I was. So angels, guardian angels, archangels, spirit guides, negative entities, nature guides, nature spirit guides, spirit, the army of spirits, and death. I think I'm good. I hope this has been helpful, as always. This topic is a little, different. And I know that there's a lot of people watching that actually know a lot more and do a lot of work with energies and spirits. And if I've made mistakes, please forgive me. This is honestly just my attempt to share the little that I know, with the intention of hopefully igniting that curiosity in you to then go research some more. So with that, I ask for forgiveness if I've made any mistakes, and I just pray that this helps. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Love and light.